Right, well, we get into this discussion, and of course, the question asked is, whatever happened to the formerly Gupta-owned Optimum mine? Well, the Mpumalanga Action Movement has blamed Optimum Coal's competitors for preventing the mine from reopening. The movement claims the opening of the mine under the new owners, Liberty Coal, which was scheduled for last Monday and was allegedly stalled by Glencore. The movement, which represents residents of Middelburg, Hendrina and eMalahleni, members of the National Union of Mineworkers, and even former employees of the mine, well, they gathered at Glencore headquarters in Melrose Arch in Johannesburg to hand over a memorandum of demands. Well, joining us on this discussion, we are joined by Mr. Malekutu Motubatse, who is the NUM Highveld regional chairperson. He joins us via Zoom here in studio. We are joined by Mr. Khutso Masemola, who is the chair of the Mpumalanga Action Movement. I think let's start here in studio with yourself, Khutso. Good morning, and thank you so much for giving us your time. Just give us, I think, what I don't want to do is take for granted that people actually know what the latest is with Optimum Mine. I think the people hear Optimum Mine and they already link it to the Gupta family. It is no longer in the ownership of the Gupta family and now owned by Liberty Coal. Talk to us quickly about that transition as briefly as you can.
Well, that transition came through as a beacon of hope to the people, the residents of Steveshed, a local municipality and surrounding areas. So it came in as an intervention from the business rescue practitioners, including the intervention of the NPA and all stakeholders who were involved. The transition on its entirety meant that there'll be more jobs that will be created, as they were currently running on skeleton mini pits. And those pits were serving about 2.5 people were employed. And you know, in South Africa, for every one person who gets an income, about 2 to 3 people depend on that income. So we're talking about more or less 7,000, 8,000 people who are currently benefiting from that skeleton mini pits. But since then, the NPA has settled everything. It came in as a hope that more jobs can be created and more sustainable livelihoods can be expected.
Yeah, and how that issue was settled with the NPA was of course with the help of this organization, Liberty Coal, that is owned by, I believe, a British billionaire, Daniel McGowan,
Correct.
who essentially paid or is set and committed to pay 461 million rand to the state. This is in place of the confiscation of the property of Optimum Mine. The mine was set to reopen last week, Monday. I'm going to bring you in here, Mr. Motubatse. Why has that not taken place, in your view?
Well, correctly articulated by your guest there, we believe that there is power play. One of them is deliberately made by the board of Richards Bay Coal Terminal, which is owned by 4 mines, amongst others, which is Riti, Tungela, Glencore, and Exaro. So they don't want to allocate the slot to Optimum so that it can begin to export its coal. In our view, that is a delaying tactic that seeks to disadvantage members of the NUM, whom for more than 5 years they were unemployed, unable to pay school fees for their children, unable to pay their bonds, cars, and so forth. So this is an opportunity presenting itself, but then the RBCT is continuing to delay unnecessarily. In our view, it's a matter of profit maximization. They want to maximize profit because currently that particular terminal, they share it amongst themselves, so they're making profit out of it. So now when Optimum is coming on board, they are realizing that indeed they are going to lose profit, and that is why they are just becoming with unnecessary and delaying tactics.
Okay, so just for clarity here, the issue that you're taking with the competitors is that you're asking essentially for the Richards Bay Coal Terminal to allow the train allocation of Optimum so that they're able to move coal. Mr. Motubatse, give me that clarity, please.
Yes, that's true. We want the RBCT to allocate the terminal back to its owners, which is Optimum, OCM. And stop this delaying tactics. These delaying tactics, they are worrying because our members from Optimum, they are directly affected by this unnecessary delaying tactics that is informed by nothing but making sure that they want to maximize profit.
Okay, so we saw a protest then taking place where you then have marched to the offices of Glencore at Melrose Arch. You handed over a memorandum of demands. Khutso, what was on that memorandum?
Well, basically on that memorandum, we were straight to the point. There was not a lot of issues. The issue was that Glencore should stop its collusion tendencies, because currently, through investigation, we have found out that they are currently using the slot that is supposed to be used by Liberty Coal. And in that means that they are, as my colleague just mentioned, they are maximizing profit. And in that memorandum, we have demanded that can they participate in the board decisions and give uplift the entitlement that belongs to Liberty Coal now, because they've released a lot of press statements with false information stating that there's no mining rights that was transferred. But we have seen communication from the DMRE that does say that the mining rights were transferred, everything was done, the NPA has done everything. So the only thing that's left is for them just to uplift the allocation, and then everyone gets their hope back in their hand and livelihoods become better in the society.
Obviously, there's a need for us to bring in the DMRE into this discussion to see what actually takes place. But let's talk about the workers, the communities, how many people are impacted. How many jobs are we talking about here, Khutso?
An estimate of about 12,000 jobs. We are talking about 12,000 at a minimum pace. When the mine is fully operational and contractors are on board, everyone is on board, we are estimating about 15,000 to 18,000 jobs. And that's a huge number when we look at it, how small the host community is. It will really help a lot.
Malekutu, just talk to me a little bit about what we're seeing from an individual point of view. I mean, as your members, NUM, those that had been employed by Optimum Coal Mine, just how they have been impacted, stories that you've heard particularly from your members.
We have witnessed a situation whereby some of our members, they had to die through stress when Optimum was closed. So now we were hopeful as well. And not only that, others, they even lost their cars, houses, like we've indicated. You know, when you are unemployed, you lose almost everything. So when there was this commitment made between the Liberty Coal and the NPA, we were hopeful that now the future, it's coming. Our members will now go back to work and start feeding their families. By the way, Optimum, it was one of the biggest mines. In fact, when it was operating, one of the biggest mines in Mpumalanga, and it was paying very well. It was one of the mines that was paying its employees very well. So hence we are calling for RBCT to now talk to itself. They need to conduct what we call a self-reflection and consciously talk to themselves, because our members are frustrated, they are unemployed, they can't feed, they can't put the bread on the table of their families and so forth. So it directly affected our members, and we are receiving calls almost on a daily basis from our members who are working there to say, when are we starting? We really believe that we must be starting so that we can be able to put bread. So we are saying to RPCT, just like when you are feeding your families, allow employees of Optimum to go back to work, allocate the slot to Optimum so that they can too feed their families.
And I believe that the delay in the reopening of the mine, to some extent, Khutso, and perhaps you can clarify this for me, also now bringing challenges in how water is supplied to the community in Hendrina.
Well, while Optimum was running in its full capacity, they had provided water to the communities of Pulenzope and Hendrina. That also gave some relief to the local municipality in terms of service delivery. So in that case, it then meant that people of Hendrina and Pulenzope will have clean water to drink, and will have water flowing through their taps consistently. There's no stoppages. So now, since Optimum is closed, that has come to a stop, and now the municipality is having a lot of pressure in terms of trying to get water cards to those villages, trying to get water to reach to those people, and that on its own, it really takes us backwards. And we had hoped that by now at least we can have some movement and people can be getting water, and the municipality can get a relief, because on government side it's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and stressful for them to keep up with service delivery.
Why march to Glencore and not then to DMRE?
Well, from investigation, as I've told you, that we have found out that, as Mr. Motubatse has mentioned, that RPCT is informed by big companies that are mainly Thungela, Seriti, and Glencore. Those are the major shareholders. So those major shareholders, they are currently colluding in terms of them utilizing the allocation that is entitled to Liberty Coal, OCM. So now we took the march to Glencore because we want to show them that we are aware of what they are currently doing. And we have seen that there's this thing called the coal mafia, of which we see that the government is trying so hard to fight the construction mafia. But we hope that they can also intervene in the side, because Glencore, as the head of the coal mafia, is trying to close out its biggest competitor so that they can continue using the allocation. So we took them to march to Glencore to say, guys, we are aware of what you're doing. Can you please stop what you're doing and allow hope? Because I'm using the word hope because we are in a year of elections. Everyone is hopeful that probably things will be better. So we are saying Glencore, Thungela, Seriti, they should allow hope to people. That's all. Okay.
Well, we're going to have to start move towards really wrapping it up, of course. And what we're hearing is the NPN Liberty Coal, which is now the new owner of Optimum, did reach a settlement agreement allowing Liberty Coal to gain ownership of Optimum Coal Mine and its export arm, the Optimum Coal Terminal, set to reopen last week, Monday. That has not taken place. Mr. Motubatse, final thoughts on what then should be the next step if you don't see the coming to the table of some of these competitors that you've now talked about?
The next step is that, like we've mentioned, the RPCT, it must talk to itself and allow OCM to start exporting coal so that the creation of employment, it can happen in Optimum. We are saying that this matter was derailed and delayed for a very long time. We believe that the time has arrived. They must stop with these unnecessary conditions that they are putting to Liberty Coal, because we know that it is their strategy just to delay the process. We want our members as the National Union of Mineworkers to go back to work as soon as tomorrow.
Okay, and your next steps?
Our next step is that we plan to visit their operations. We are saying that an injury to one is an injury to all. So if Optimum Coal is not going to operate, rather we not all operate until everyone finds each other.
What does that mean?
It means that we are going to have a peaceful picketing in all the operations. That means that we saying an injury to one is an injury to all. And lastly, Naledi, what I want to have a serious plea to the president of the country, that as he is a forward believer that private sector will be the one that will create more jobs so that people can get a relief in terms of the stresses that are happening around. We are saying that can he please intervene in this situation where we'll have him giving an instruction to RPCT saying that they should allow Optimum to operate, as we see that this thing is causing a lot of depression on people and it's causing a lot of stress. So we are saying that, Mr. President, can you please intervene in your capacity as the president of the country and the ruling party.
Okay. Well, we'll be watching the story very closely and, of course, getting some of the role players as well, those competitors and other role players, particularly in government as well, to respond to some of the claims that have been made. But thank you so much to our guest, Malekutu Motubatse, who is the National Union of Mineworkers, Highveld regional chairperson, and also Khutso Masemola, Mpumalanga Action Movement chairperson, joining us here.